Welcome to Motherhood from the Brain, a podcast guiding moms of preteen girls on how to navigate emotional challenges that are not addressed in school. We share real stories, expert advice, and brain-based methods for handling tough moments. Discover insights to create a deeper connection with your preteen and improve your motherhood journey. Let's tackle the uncharted territory of parenting together. Hosted by professional certified coach, Esther Babazi.
Before we begin, I want to share a brief disclaimer. I am not a psychiatrist, psychologist, or any other licensed mental health professional. On this podcast, Motherhood and the Brain, I share what has personally helped me improve my mental and emotional well-being. My hope is that by sharing my experiences, I might help even one mother out there who is struggling. Well, hello. Welcome back to the Motherhood and the Brain podcast, episode number 35. I can't believe we are 35 episodes in. My name is Esther Babazi, and I coach moms who kill it at work, and they come home and find themselves yelling at their preteens. I help them stop or at least significantly reduce yelling so their preteens feel safe to come to them, not fearful of their mother's reaction. That's what I do. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about something that I have said in the past. The best way that I know how, that has worked for me and worked for other moms that I have worked with, to stop yelling is to become aware of your thinking, to become aware of the sentences that move around in your brain, to become aware of your thoughts. And becoming aware of your thoughts is not enough. When you become aware of your thoughts, you need to change them. Becoming aware of your thoughts is one thing, and changing your thoughts is another thing. We become aware of our thoughts by, for example, journaling. Journaling is a very good thing that creates awareness, that shows you patterns. Journaling can show you what happens, things that lead you to yell, what you do after yelling, how you speak to yourself after yelling. All these things you can learn through journaling. But changing your thoughts, journaling will not do that unless you have specific tools that I teach, for example, to help you change your thoughts. If you don't do that, you will continue yelling. It will only work short time before you start yelling again, because you are not addressing the root of the problem, the reason why you are yelling. You are not addressing that. You are just addressing the yelling that happens, but you are not digging deeper to find out why. Yelling is an action that is fueled by how you feel in that particular moment. Let us say you feel angry or frustrated. Yelling, then you yell. You are feeling frustrated because of what you're thinking. This is why thinking is important. It's important to become aware of our thinking. You are thinking something happens, and you think a thought that leads you to feel frustrated. And when you feel frustrated, you raise your voice. Things happen out in the world. For example, your child's behavior. It is something that is outside of your control. But you think something about your child's behavior. And when you think that, you feel frustrated. When you feel frustrated, you raise your voice and yell at your child. This is like the chain. All these elements are interconnected. Situations happen out in the world. We think something about those situations, and how we think leads us to feel a certain way, in this case, frustration, and how we feel fuels the things that we do or don't do, in this case, yelling. And when we yell, the actions that we do or the things that we do, they create results in our lives. So unless you create awareness of what you're thinking, you become aware of what you're thinking, it will be hard for you to stop yelling. And you have probably heard me say that changing thoughts, your thoughts, changing your thinking is not about standing in the mirror and chanting positive statements. I did that, trust me. I did that, and I knew a few other moms who did that, and it never worked. And the reason it did not work is because there is a gap between where you are now and what you're chanting. If you think that you are a horrible mom because your child won't listen to you, you can't get your child to listen to you, to do what you're asking, and you think that you are horrible, you can't be just chanting, I'm a wonderful mom, I'm a patient mom, I'm an amazing mom. No. You can chant that, but it will not land for you. You will not believe it because the gap is too big for you. So what brings me to this episode is a tool that I teach, that we use, called a thought ladder. It is a tool we use to move us closer to what we want to believe. If we want to believe something about ourselves, but it is far away from where we are now, we use the thought ladder to move us closer to what we want to believe, to bridge that gap. A thought ladder is like going to a shop. You go to the shop to buy different outfits, to buy new outfits. And this retail person in the shop, you ask them and they recommend a few outfits. Now, these outfits, then they come on their hand. They have like these outfits and they have colors that you normally don't wear. Maybe the way they have matched them is not your style. Maybe your usual style. Like these outfits the retail person has on their hand, to be honest, they're a little bit outside your comfort zone. They're a little bit outside what you're used to. So they hand them to you and they encourage you to try them on. And you try them on and you think that, okay, I have never worn these colors before, but okay, I like how it looks on me. I like how they hug all the right places. The outfit they handed you, I like how it fits here. Like, this is outside for me. Like, I've never thought of this, but I'll try it. I think I can make this work. I think I can wear this. And then you try another one and another one. Like, you stand in the mirror and check yourself out and like what you see. And you are open to trying it on, to putting it on. This is how a thought ladder works. So, imagine a ladder, like a ladder. A ladder has different rungs on it. At the top of the ladder is your intentional thought. At the top of the ladder is something that you want to believe. Each rung on that ladder represents a thought that will eventually lead you to what you want to believe, but will lead you to your intentional thought. So, my clients have like a workbook. We used to do this kind of work. But if you're just listening, take a piece of paper and draw a ladder. And write down on each rung, write down a sentence or a thought. On the first rung, write down a thought that is automatic, that normally happens in your brain when your preteen does or does not do something. It could be something like, she never listens to me. Now, on the second rung, work your way upwards. On the second rung, imagine a kind of sentence or thought you would like to believe. One that brings you a little bit of, like, it makes you feel a little bit better about yourself. It is not too much a stretch from the first rung thought, but it moves you an inch closer to feeling. It would be something like, I could communicate calmly. It will help her respond better. That could be your second thought. You may not believe this yet, but that's okay. This is not your intentional thought at the top. This is moving you an inch closer to your upper thought. If you're not sure what you want your intentional thought to be, think about the opposite of your current thought. if you think that she never listens to me, the opposite of that thought might be she's doing her best as a child. She's doing her best as a child as we go along. And the important thing is, when you introduce new things to your brain, the brain will resist it. So you have to find evidence. You have to find evidence for things that you introduce to your brain to show the brain that we can do this. This is already happening out in the world. It is already done. It will not be so hard for us. Because whatever you believe, your brain will go to work to find evidence of what you believe in. Think of a person you know or a mom you admire who seems to be calm and patient with their child or their preteen. What would they be thinking in moments of frustration? For example, maybe they may be thinking, I know my child is growing and they will learn in time. This can guide you toward an intentional thought that supports the calm response you are aiming for. So once you set your intentional thought, work through smaller steps in between. Like, I can take a deep breath before I respond. My child is in the age where children test boundaries. This is normal. These rung thoughts on the ladder that work their way up to the top, they help you bridge the gap between when you feel frustrated and calm to where you want to be. You want to be a calm person who responds with calm, but you're not yet there. So these small steps you create, these steps on the ladder, these rungs on the ladder that you create will help you reach to the calm feeling or thought that you want. And what I find helpful, even today I use it all the time, is to create a bridge to an intentional thought. Something that brings me closer. If I want to think that I am a mom who responds with calm, even when frustrated, and I'm not there yet, I create a bridge or bridge thoughts to get me there. And examples of bridge thoughts in this situation include, I am learning that understanding my preteen's perspective can reduce misunderstanding and conflict. I am learning that struggling with motherhood does not define my worth as a mother. It's part of my journey. I'm realizing that making mistakes is part of being a mother. It does not diminish my commitment or love to my child. I see that many mothers face difficulties and they deserve kindness and understanding from themselves and others. And I deserve kindness and understanding from myself too. It is okay to take a breath before responding, especially in challenging moments. I am becoming a person who is learning to express my feelings calmly and constructively. I am becoming a person who is learning to express my feelings calmly and constructively. I am becoming a person who is showing my preteen how to manage their emotions instead of reacting impulsively. So these are all small steps to get you to a person who is calm, who responds with calm, even when frustrated. I'm a person who is focusing on building a positive relationship with my child. Sometimes I'll say, I'm open to believing that I can respond calmly even when I feel frustrated and angry about her behavior. Notice I didn't say her child, I didn't say my child. I said her behavior because we have to separate the child from the behavior. The child is not the behavior. I'm open to believing that I can respond calmly even when I feel frustrated and angry about her behavior. I am open to believing that with dedication and a little effort, I can stop yelling at my child Ooh, this is a good one. This is like a good intentional thought to have at the top and then work our way to that. I'm open to believing that yelling doesn't define me as a mother. I can learn and grow from each experience. I'm considering exploring techniques like active listening. I'm considering finding moments to connect with my child without distractions, because when we connect with them without distractions, we actually get to know more about them. I'm considering looking into resources to help me become that top thought, to help me become the person who responds with calm even when facing frustration. So as you begin to work these ladder thoughts, you will notice small changes, subtle changes in your body. For example, rather than feeling a tight chest or clenched jaw when facing a challenging moment with your child, you might feel these sensations ease slightly. This relaxation or this easing is an early sign that new thoughts are starting to make an impact. Yelling often comes from a feeling of out of control or helplessness, which can lead to shallow, rapid breathing. But as ladder thoughts begin to work, you may find your breathing slowly goes down, it deepens and becomes more even. This shift can signify that you are moving away from frustration to feeling more grounded. And when you feel grounded, you will feel some form of softening. When you feel grounded, when you feel compassionate for yourself and your child, you feel like a softening around the edges. Your shoulders drop, both shoulders drop. And this is a sign that the ladder thought is working. When you are in a situation and you're practicing your ladder thoughts, you will feel a softening around the edges. And this is a sign that whatever thought you're practicing is starting to take. And this helps you open up. Like there will be a willingness to see your child's perspective, leading to a softer expression and more relaxed posture. Instead of reacting when you find yourself in a situation and you are, like you catch yourself in the moment before you explode or before you go off, you catch yourself and a thought comes to your brain, a ladder thought comes to your brain. You will notice, which is very fascinating. I don't even know how. I think this is what they call metaphysical. Like you see yourself in your body, but you see your shoulder dropping. Your shoulders dropping or your posture changing and shifting, and you're opening yourself up to see your child's perspective. These are all signs that ladder thoughts are working. So as you move closer to your intentional thought, you might feel a sense of relief and lightness. When you think something like, I'm able to handle this calmly, you will feel more open to receiving. You'll feel a sense of space in your chest, even a bit of warmth and energy. We call that, or one of my teachers calls that, like your heart will expand. Like you feel your heart expanding when you are able to say a ladder thought that you have practiced and you feel your heart expand. It means something is changing in your body. Like you are warm and you're opening up instead of closing, because when we close, we don't want to listen. That is when we resist. When we resist and we are closed off, that is when we create friction and we exchange, words with our children, and then it leads to yelling. But when you think something like, I'm able to handle this calmly, you will feel differently. I think we haven't talked about feelings on this podcast, but we have to learn to be in tune with what is going on in our bodies. You know how they say communication is 90%, I think they say 90% physical? This is what we mean. When you think something and you notice your body shift, when you think I'm able to handle this calmly and you notice like your chest open up, there's space in your chest, your heart is expanding, like one of my teachers says it, yeah, my heart expanded, my heart expands. It means what you believe. You really believe what you're thinking. The difference between thinking and believing is thinking is like a sentence. It just comes and swerves around your brain. But when you really believe what you're thinking, you feel the belief in your body. You feel something shift in your bodies. Dr. Joe Dispenza says that thoughts are the language of the body, and emotions. Thoughts are the language of the brain, and emotions are the language of the body. We think something and we feel it in the body. So go practice, draw a ladder, and work your way up. Inch your way up. So you start believing. You believe, you practice, you write it down, you have it on your... I know there are apps. I think there's an app called ThinkUp. People speak the thoughts they want in that app, and it's somehow timed on their phone, and suddenly the phone, like you time it, and your phone will say it to you loud. During the day, as you're moving during the day, people write different things down. The same way they do affirmations, they write different things down. They keep notes, like to remind themselves of what they are working at. Go practice. The thought ladder works. All you have to do is practice it. Be consistent. It works. It will work for you. It works for me. Like everything else that is new, the brain will resist a little, but stick with it. You tell me. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Talk to you again next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Your time means the world to us. If you found this episode valuable, we would be immensely grateful if you could spare a moment to visit Apple Podcasts and share your thoughts through a review. Your feedback plays a vital role in helping fellow moms discover our podcast and enrich their own motherhood experiences. Take care, and bye for now.